Tesla. Their mission is simple: to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. They're driven forward by their great leader, Elon Musk, a man seemingly capable of the impossible. They're revolutionizing the way we think and the way the world is going to work in the future. They are some of the greatest innovators of all time. And as always, as long-term investors, we have to ask ourselves the difficult questions. Is this a company we want to invest in? Do we believe in them? There's an awful lot to talk about when it comes to Tesla, so let's not waste any time and let's get straight into this. What is happening, people? It is your boy Jack. Hopefully you enjoyed that little bit of an intro we did. But today, obviously, we're going to be speaking about Tesla, a company I've stayed away from for so long just because they sent a little bit scary to me. But I said, you know what? It's time to finally sit down and do the research, form my own opinion on them and share that with all of you guys. It should be known from the start that I currently don't own any position in Tesla and I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I speak about are just my own thoughts, so keep that in mind the whole time. So this video took me ages to make, way longer than usual, because my knowledge on Tesla before this was zero. I had no knowledge whatsoever. I had never looked into them. So please help your boy out. Drop the video a like. It'll help it get seen by more people. Subscribe and hit the bell button if you're new around here. And drop me your thoughts on Tesla as a company in the comments down below. Because a lot of people have strong opinions, whether it's for or against Tesla. And I'm interested in speaking to you all about them. But now, let's get to the juicy, good stuff. So we're going to start off by speaking about why I've never looked into Tesla seriously before. And the main reason is when we invest in companies, right, we invest in a company. We invest in their fundamentals and we invest because we believe in them and what they're going to do. Tesla is different. Now, you do invest in Tesla because you believe in the company and you believe in electric cars and their mission and everything like that. But when you buy Tesla, you're also buying Elon Musk. And that is where things have been scary to me from the start. Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Elon. I think he's one of the most amazing businessmen on our planet ever. But he is still a really scary man to be investing in because what he does will heavily influence what Tesla's price is regardless of what Tesla does themselves. So Elon is always at the front of the news, whether it's for good or bad, and it's all publicity and it all affects Tesla's stock price. Remember this, Elon Musk smoking weed on the Joe Rogan podcast. I think this was the first time a lot of us actually saw his personality and watched a lot to do with him. We all knew he existed, but we didn't really know him personally as such. We didn't watch videos on him, and I think most of the world has watched this video. But this was the 7th of September 2018, right? And if we just go back to September 2018, come on, right about here, okay, we can see that the week before it was sitting up at about $300 and it dropped down to $263. Now, it didn't last that long. It did actually shoot back up, not even a month later. But it's the point that when he's in the headlines, it will affect Tesla stock in the short term. And that is why this company is so volatile, and it's why people incorrectly compare it to a cryptocurrency. Because at times, investing in Tesla will feel like you're investing in a crypto because it moves up much more and it moves down much more than the average stock does. That's the first thing to just keep in mind though, is that when you're investing in Tesla, at least in the short term, you're investing in Tesla, but you're also investing in Elon Musk. Now down the line, Elon may have nothing to do with Tesla, who knows, he may completely leave the company, but in the short term, at least the next kind of 3 to 5 years, you're investing in Tesla and Elon Musk. Now, just a quick little one-liner on what Tesla actually does. Tesla designs, develops, manufactures, leases and sells electric vehicles and energy generation and storage systems in the US and internationally. So when you think Tesla, you obviously think of the Model 3, the Model X, the Model Y, you just think of the cars themselves. Maybe the Cybertruck that recently was announced, we'll speak about that a little bit later because that is really important. But they're also in solar, they're in solar roofs. Solar roof replaces your existing roof and brings it to life with beautiful solar tiles that can power your home for decades with the energy you produce. So they're in more than just electric cars. There's more to this business, as there often is with businesses. It's like recently when we went through Pepsi. And you might just think of the beverage Pepsi, but they actually have over 20 different brands that are worth over $1 billion, and they're not all even beverages. So it's always important to know the full spectrum of what a company actually does before investing. So not only are you investing in electric cars and Elon Musk, you're also investing in these solar roofs. Also, Tesla is a relatively new company. In 2008, Tesla Motors released their first car. So when we think of Tesla, we know they're a relatively new company, but most people probably think the last 5-6 years because that's when they really started hitting the headlines. But they have released their first car back all the way in 2008. And Tesla also went public nearly exactly 10 years ago. When they were released, they were sitting at a nice little price of $17 their share was. Right now, it's at just over 500. It's been as high as over 950. Now, back then, it would have been a silly investment. It would have been complete and utter speculation. But if you did get in back then, whoo, you're swimming in money, baby. But now when we think Tesla, we think of the electric car, and that is definitely the most important part of their business. So we're going to have a few looks at just how electric cars are doing as a whole before we get specifically into Tesla. So electric car deployment in selected countries 2013 to 2018. And just look at that exponential growth, baby. Obviously the next year or two may be hit because of the virus that's going on. People won't have as much money. But look how exponential that growth has been. And Tesla are leading this by a long mile. We can see that now with this headline right here. Tesla gobbled up 78% of US electric vehicle sales in 2019. They own the market. And what really changed the game? The Tesla Model 3, baby. An affordable electric car. One that means that your everyday person can now drive a Tesla. You don't have to be a multi-millionaire. So guys, what we're doing now is we're having a look at how much the different models of Tesla cost. We can see the Model 3 starts at $35,000, the Model S $85,000, and the Model X $89,500. So this Model 3 was a real game changer. And this will be reflected when we look at Tesla's cash sheets, their balance sheets, and other earnings. We can see back in July 7, 2017 is when this first came out, and that was a real turning point for this business. This made Tesla affordable to the everyday person, which is something that they were grossly missing out on. Most people cannot afford to buy a new car for $80,000 to $90,000. It's just not what most people will spend on their car. $35,000 on the other hand is possible for a lot of people. Now what can the car actually do? Is it a good car or is it just a gimmick? Well, it can go from 0 to 100 kilometers in as little as 3.4 seconds, has a top speed of 261 kilometers an hour, baby. One single charge will bring you as far as 560 kilometers, and a half an hour recharge will bring you back up to a 270 kilometer limit. Now one that's well known is their autopilot. This car can drive 90 to 95% of the time completely and utterly by itself, which is mental. Imagine just on a long drive, you could just be cruising, your hands don't even need to be on the wheel. Is crazy, man. And Tesla's innovation sees no limits. This Tesla semi-truck was announced back in November 2017, and near the end of 2020 they plan on having these in the roads. An electric semi-truck, guys. Tesla just, they don't stop. There's absolutely no denying that Tesla is way ahead of anybody else in regards to electronic car technology. They are smashing it. They own the market. They are just so ahead of any other competitor, which is one really exciting prospect when we decide if we're going to invest in this company or not, is that they are at the top by an absolute mile. You can't even see the other fella. He's not even on the screen. He's down here somewhere. You want to see something else, lad, something crazy, right? Software updates. Tesla's cars regularly receive over-the-air software updates. You get an upgraded car from your phone. You don't have to go to a garage and get new parts put in, take your car apart. You can just download new updates like in an app. It's crazy. They're just so far ahead of everybody else innovation wise. Remember what we said at the start, their mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. That's something that's getting more and more popular as time goes on, as global warming gets more real, as people get more afraid of the concept of the whole world just poofing, just disappearing. So people are going to be inclined down the line to buy these electric cars, and who are they going to know? What brand are they going to know? They're going to know Tesla. Something else that's worth considering is that electric vehicles, they've been around a while, but only very recently, the last 10-15 years, have people taken, you know, looking into them and researching them, putting money into them seriously. So they're a relatively new kind of car, like they really are. 1886 is regarded as the birth year of the modern car, when German inventor Carl Benz, he invented Mercedes-Benz, made his first car. Now back then, Mercedes-Benz would have been crazy, you know what I mean? They would have been the only car maker, they would have been the first one, they would have been the biggest. And now, in the future, they're just another one. They're just another car brand, you know? They're not leaders, they're not the biggest in the world, they're just another one. And is that something that could happen to Tesla? Who knows? But it's something that is worth keeping in mind when it comes to thinking long term. Short term, Tesla are going to dominate. Long term, are they going to be able to keep it up? Or will some random company come out of nowhere and just absolutely destroy them? Who knows? Now, year by year, there are more and more companies taking research and development in the electric car industry more and more seriously. Obviously, Tesla right now are smashing it, but then there's big names, BMW, Nissan, Chevrolet, Ford, Volkswagen, Kia. They're all researching electric cars and they all want their own ones. So there is going to be a lot of competition. Right now there isn't. Tesla is far ahead of the game, but down the line there will be competition. Some of these companies will figure out things before Tesla. Tesla are way ahead of the game. They've been researching far longer, but again, just keep that long-term mindset in play. Now, a few of the facts and figures about Tesla. So they have a current market cap of 92.4 billion, which is massive for such a new company. Now, earnings per share has been negative pretty much forever, until the next 12 months projected. So who knows what's going to happen there. And then free cash flow per share, it's a fairly similar situation. It was only last year that they actually started making cash off of their shares. Their sales growth has been great. In 13 it was massive. And again, we can see since 17, when the Tesla came out, boom, there was a lot more sales, and it's been relatively slow in 2019. They've done some very good work in regards to their operating margin and free cash flow margin. Their operating margin is now 0% compared to being extremely negative, and their free cash flow margin is now in the positive when it was down as low as negative 152% back in 2010. We can see their net debt to EBITDA again is looking good, it's looking positive, it's getting lower. That's what we like to see. Some of the numbers over the last 5 years. Gross profit has increased, happy days. Operating income is positive now, woohoo! It's actually positive. It's been negative the whole way down. Net income, however, is still not painting a very pretty picture. Now let's have a look at their assets and liabilities. So their total current assets, that's nice. They've been climbing fairly rapidly over the last 5 years, which is always good to see. Their total assets, again, climbing nicely, sitting at 34 billion as of right now. Their total current liabilities are at 10.6 billion. So we actually have more current assets than current liabilities, which is excellent. And their total liabilities are at 26.19 billion. And their total assets are at 34.3 billion. So all in all, it's actually starting to look quite good for Tesla, considering how poorly it has looked in the past. It's starting to come up Milhouse. So although things still don't look particularly good, they're definitely getting better. Tesla generated 24.6 billion in revenue in 2019. They still didn't turn an annual profit. In fact, it lost 862 million in 2019. They finished the year with back-to-back profitable quarters, something it did for the first time ever in 2018. So the last 2 years, it's still not great, but it's looking a whole lot better, which could be an initiative to buy. When Tesla turn profitable, it's going to be crazy. Just some of my thoughts, me just speaking to the camera, not looking at the facts and figures, just what I actually think about Tesla. It's a stock I'd love to get invested in, but it's not a stock I would put too much money into. It's something I'd put my fun money into, something like Carnival Cruise Corp, something that I think has potential for absolutely disgustingly high return rates, but something that I also acknowledge could turn around and go the other way. The thing is, I heavily believe in Elon, and I heavily believe in Tesla's business model. So those two things really do point to me making an investment. And after doing the research that I've done, I do want to open a position in Tesla very, very shortly. But I think I just need to watch their stocks, watch the market a little bit more, see how they react to certain things. Because right now, it's at a probably relatively fair short-term evaluation. It may be a little bit cheap as a long-term, but I think it has a little bit of room to go lower. It's hard to know. Nobody knows. I always like investing in companies who are at the top of their sector. And there's no question about it, Tesla is at the very tip top of their sector, and there's nobody even close to them. Usually we want to get into people, like you look at the Coca-Colas and the Pepsis, they're at the top, but they're neck and neck, and there's people just down here and there's people just down here. With Tesla, they're the only one up here and everybody else is down here. It's also extremely volatile, much more than your average stock. So if you have a low risk tolerance, and if you can't stand seeing your money go up and down more than your average in your portfolio will, stay far away. Yeah guys, hopefully you were able to take something from this video. It took a long time, as I said earlier on, considering I had more or less no prior knowledge about Tesla. So please do smash that like button if you haven't yet, subscribe if you're new around here, and until the next one guys, peace.